couple of words.
It's so good to be back in the greenness of the Swiss mountains and to hear Swiss German again.
So we are back in Switzerland in a train from Zurich to St. Moritz. Mercifully, it's beer time. This time it's a circle from St. Moritz back to St. Moritz and up and down all these passes, kind of represented by the teeth down below. And this is a ride in the lower east side of Switzerland.
Well, we're just a little bit madly in love with Switzerland. Just a little tiny bit.
There's a morning blessing to start this ride, found within minutes of leaving St. Moritz. We're not taking the footpath. We are taking the bike path.
Guten Tag.
And here are a couple of words from Kitty on the subject. She's not ready for this, but there it goes.
Well, some mornings you start off and you don't wear the sunglasses because you're sure it's going to rain and maybe snow, and you're very glad for your gloves and you're very glad for your puffy jacket with the hood.
Do notice the clouds.
Little bit by little bit, the clouds lift, the mountains appear, and you come to an old church.
It is a pretty church and therefore a good omen, and we recognize it. So all in all, this is going to be 14 days of riding, with distances anywhere between 17 miles on the quiet days to 40 miles on the long ones, and sometimes flat like here, and obviously sometimes with the passes to go over. But the flat and bucolic will be truly short-lived, we know that. Getting up to the Albula Pass. 2,000 meters, 6,000 feet. Good thing to have an e-bike. Kitty way up ahead. Mr. Not Always Well Prepared here did think ahead of time that the likelihood of success of this trip would be enhanced if his wife were not freezing at all times. So he took her to REI before leaving the country and bought her that pink jacket, and needless to say, that was the right thing to do. This is actually day one. We've left St. Moritz in the morning and we're struggling our way up the Albula Pass. It's around 7,600 feet. So we'll make it up the pass, down the pass, and eventually end up in a town where, believe it or not, we took some time off for an afternoon walk, which began with a little cable car ride in a place called Bergun. What's a hoosie?
A hoosie in this case is a Abfahrt that gains up the mountain.
That's what Kitty calls a hoosie.
Funicular.
Funicula.
Funiculi. Some think the world is made for fun and frolic, and so do I, and so do I.
Bergun, this little town, is noteworthy for having really respected a historic architectural style and stayed away, well, in the center of the town anyway, from replacing the old stuff by standard Swiss modern construction. What have we here? I suppose it does different things to different people. Go figure.
I do it. It's not whether I can do it. I do it.
Are you a happy cow?
Happy cows. I mean, imagine you're up here in the pasture. You've got water, you've got clover, you have all sorts of green stuff. Little tiny villages nestled in the far off distance. You don't have to worry about getting to, because you're a happy cow. Well, we've stumbled upon llamas, and if you observe, they have the cutest little ears that go this way and that way. They're all attention. The tails are like little airbrushes, and they do like having their picture taken. They'll look at you and pose.
On this day, our hotel was in an old house that had been rehabbed and turned into this cool hotel with really old worn wood. Okay, music choice arguably a little bit dramatic, but that's because there's going to be snow the next morning when we wake up. Luckily, the snow didn't stick around for too long. The observant will have noticed that Kitty is carrying the backpack. It contains lunch, Typically a couple of sandwiches made from the breakfast staples, a few fruit, and a couple of bottles of water. Coming over the San Bernardino Pass with that kind of landscape on one side. Watch the cars, Nick. This is the San Bernardino Pass, the second major pass that we will go over, 6,800 feet or so. Going over the passes, the prior one, this one, and the next one, typically made us quite cold, shivery cold, but there always came the recompense of an open restaurant and a thick bowl of very warm soup, which was always very welcome.
So here we are. I think we're at the top of the San Bernardino. You know, nothing like the red gear. Yeah. What do we do? That's enough.
Not a totally benign landscape, but what a view. Engadine faithfully pushing on like nobody's business. Quite extraordinary, really. But the point of going over the pass is that you go over the pass, and soon enough you're back in this kind of climate, which is warm and green and welcoming and all downhill too. Hee. Still downhill and hardly ever a car. So there was a sign saying that the road was closed.
It's an avalanche. I'm glad we missed the avalanche. We just had the aftermath. Yeah? Just a little aftermath.
Yeah. So we could have heeded the sign, but you know who here who can't really read said, well, you never know. Maybe we can get across without difficulty. Let's take a look. Sherlock Holmes that I am, I suspect that may have caused this.
We're long with. I'm sorry about the flies. Yeah, it's a problem, isn't it? The flies. Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I proceed, but with very limited confidence that my Garmin is actually giving me the right road. Much as the trail is beautiful, I'm not so sure.
There we go, that was for fixing the flat tire. Help me, help me, help me, cried.
Swiss bicycle fuel. This is most important for the climb to follow. The tyre had the slow leak, which I couldn't fix, so I pumped about every hour. First cobblestones up the San Gotardo Pass. Saint Goddard, or Sankt Goddard, auf Deutsch. Anyway, it's going to be like this. These little cobblestones all the way up. It's quite a road. I just can't keep up with that girl. She's too fast. So this St. Gothard Pass, around 2,100 meters or 6,900 feet, is a crucial route for trade and travel and military movement in the past. And it's kind of a myth now, a symbol of Switzerland's independence, identity, and a very special place. It keeps on being built up, though now they're building tunnels, but it is a really emblematic pass. The F up there. Pretty effing impressive. I'm gonna end up saying it too. Here. So up she goes, the St. Gotardo Pass. It ranks out of a century, 2 centuries ago, like the Brenner Pass, like the Great St. Bernard Pass, like the Simpione Pass, amongst these commercial, political, engineering feats to allow passage across the Alps, from Holland to Italy, in other words. I never thought that at age, well, 72 for you-know-who up there, and me, 72 a month, that we'd be able to do this. But I'm so thankful. If this is flat, then I could be the next James Bond actor.
It's not a problem. We have cobblestones, we have a nice little bridge bringing us over the river. You know, it's not raining, the sun is partially here. Life is good. And the hills must be alive with the sounds of music.
The real music is that we gained about 3,200 feet over about 9 miles. Up and up and up and up and up and up. Oh, I missed that up there too. I don't know if that's going to be ours, but that is. Look at that. Wrong lane, Nicholas. Oh well. And then, since the Belgians have the road to themselves, they ride like Belgians. I've totally lost Kitty. I have no idea where she is, except that I can see her now, waving in the distance. I have, what, 7 more turns to get there? I mean, I hope I have them in me. So we do reach the top of the San Gotardo Pass at this point, period. It's not exactly anticlimactic, but it is a tourist destination for sure. There are restaurants, walks for tourists, there's a museum, there's quite a few statues, there's this lake, and so we spend some time here. Sorry about what follows here. It's beyond all rational explanation. Probably low oxygen to my brain.
Okay.
Then came the rain and the clouds and the local outing of the Wiesmann Car Club of Switzerland and Germany. This is a kind of a fancy high-tech German sports car. In the early 1800s, Russian troops actually fought armies of Napoleon here, hence the statue. Coming down from the St. Gothard Pass, this particular gorge was always the hard part to cross. The road actually goes back to the 13th century, but it was in the 18th century that this bridge was built, and then in the 19th century, the second one, and finally in the 20th century, a third one. Our own biking route actually took us over the 18th century bridge, now known as the Devil's Bridge, and eventually down on this quiet road. This is the old road for the St. Gothard. and here preserved more in its original form. And soon we have left the high altitude and descend again into a valley. So we've dropped here down to a lake where there is no road that's open to bicycles to progress, only the cars. So we're forced to take this beautiful old paddle boat to go ahead. And next time we come to Switzerland, Madame said she would like to rent this car. Anyway, onto the boat. But not before I get one practice at my James Bond car entry technique. Sneaking a peek into the first-class dining lounge. The reason there are so few people is because this is early October and so the tourist season is genuinely over. Time to get back on the road. Oof, today's a steep one, maybe the steepest. And even I went on red. More or less 6 miles at 12 to 15% grade. The famous cows with 2 legs shorter than the other. Hello, Madame Ravache. Oh, but it's so beautiful. Anyway, up to a pass today. Another 3,000 feet in our legs. She's discovered zigzags. A silly invented French song. Das Pumpen auf der Pumpen mit der Pumpen.
Ja.
Ze geeft de zooi. Hoppen da Pumpen da Pumpen.
Ja.
Joks de stok. Die meten sie de Pumpen auf de... So the slow leak I got crossing the broken part of the path there caused me to do this pumping routine about every hour.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3.
It's schwierig. It's very difficult to make the up pumpen more from the down pumpen.
Ja, ja.
But it has to do with the resistance against the up rollen.
this is sit down rolling.
The weather's changed a bit as you get up in altitude. You're in the clouds. Mercifully, it's not raining though. Predicted to fall on us a little bit later. Still, the climb endless, but quite beautiful. This day as well was rewarded by a warm soup. She says it's steep. It is steep. But what you notice, she's consistently ahead of me in this shit. Where we're going. But she's always ahead of me. And some of the times, I lose her.
We have here the universal view. Normally in the guidebooks it's 5 stars. There's even a little place where you can stop and admire. There. That's it. All we have to say.
So if you're not going to see anything, you might as well be in a tunnel. The roads are wet, but it's not raining hard. In this one town, we come across an outdoor sculpture exhibit. It takes place every 3 years. And here I demonstrate that I clearly have absolutely no sense of rhythm, as well as that I have the ability to chronically misbehave.
It's tricky.
Upscale hotel tonight. We have 2 days to go. And Kitty said this yesterday. Somehow we're beginning to feel the end of the riding, and we'll miss it. Well, yes and no, but we will. Television station would like a couple of words.
So today was most interesting. It was an exercise in keeping one's tongue very quiet in one's mouth as one watched the electricity on the bicycle go down as we were chasing wild geese, going up one way very steeply, and then, oh whoops, wrong way, and coming down.
I object. I didn't see any geese whatsoever. Don't know what she's talking about.
No geese. No, just through the mountains. And the sun is still with us, and all is well. There.
Anyway, I think she meant that I was getting us lost again and again, and she was seeing her electricity go down following my wrong directions. But nothing that a good breakfast couldn't help, as well as providing today's lunch.
Morgen. So when we look at these mountains and you say, how do you get up 5,000 feet? And you're given 5 or 10 miles to do that. People say, oh yes, but you're using an e-bike. Not a problem. And my advice is just try it. It takes an awful lot of effort. Ba-da-da-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, da-da-da-dum, ba-dum.
Oh, I forgot my bike.
Truly, verily, no lies, the map and the Garmin indicated that there was a trail here. I was not in the least bit lost. So this is the last of probably 20 kids on mountain bikes, 20 young teenagers who passed us. All good things come to a sometimes rainy end. So who's to complain if out of 14 days we get 1 day of rain?
The last day of riding, that isn't happening. Just a little wet meander under the rain, nothing much.
Arguably an overall slightly ambitious project. But now that it's done, we're very thankful to all of the deities who made this possible.